Cyber Innovations in the Private Sector highlights case studies and the latest industry trends from private vendors. Explore innovative solutions, success stories, and exclusive insights from industry leaders. Stay ahead with the cutting-edge developments driving the industry forward.
Online identity theft is a growing problem in Europe. To tackle it, the European Union has launched Ithos, a centralized observatory that combines technology, public awareness, and law enforcement collaboration. In this interview, we explore what Ithos is, why it matters now, and how it can help protect our digital identities.
Hello to everybody, I'm Annalisa Plava. I'm a postdoc at the University of Bologna, Italy. My research interest is on sociology and sociology of health. In few words, online identity theft is a crime that increasingly has a psychosocial side. What I mean is that the attackers rely both on technical and psychosocial skills, such as social engineering, by manipulating and exploiting human emotional and behaviors weaknesses, and also the feeling at ease of being constantly online to try to obtain personal information. For this reason, victims struggle to fend off the attacks. When analyzing the online identity theft landscape, the vulnerabilities of the potential victims increase. So we are facing on a new and amplified vulnerability that is often unpredictable, but also due to the underestimation of social-digital risks. We developed some traditional tools, such as victim support guidelines for adults, but also takeaway messages for teenagers. But we have literally crafted also visual project starting from the socio-empirical research. For example, we developed a deck of 15 cards called Online Identity Theft Care Kit. That is a sort of journey to support victims and to inform professionals and users. We also developed comic strips that gather in a unique storytelling the real experiences of the victims, underlining how online identity theft could happen in insignificantly and basic situation, even if we don't figure it out at any age. The infographic called Riskimeter, that is a thermometer of the risk exposure from the high to low based on the online digital activities performed. These tools are available in multiple languages, so not only in English, but also in Italian, Greek, French, Spanish, and Swedish. As part of the awareness campaign, we conducted several workshops with a group of multiple participants ranged from 14 to 93 years old. We use this workshop as a method to observe and to connect different expertise, different ages, different targets of audiences. This workshop had a positive impact. We noticed a fruitful and dialogic collaboration between them. So I think, and we believe, that this could be a useful method in the future, not only to address complex issues, but also to connect different population and expertise. I think that sociology could read something that in the society happen and is in progress, intersectional way, the other subject, the other fields, in order to better understand in which way we are going.
My name is Erik Rönnqvist. I work for the Swedish Police Authority at the IT department. I've been with the Swedish Police for a bit over 6 years, and I used to be a forensic expert, but now I work at the IT department developing software that the Swedish Police needs. Regarding the economical impact of online identity theft in Europe, I do not have any figures. But the problem is growing, it's getting bigger and bigger, and I know of a couple of frauds in UK and Romania, I think it was, and that was tens of millions of euros. And then you also have the personal impact when private citizens get their identity stolen, which can be huge. It can take months or even years to psychologically heal from it. The total economical impact, I don't have a figure, but it's huge. Well, privacy is a big issue, and Athos tries to safeguard it in a way that the Observatory for Law Enforcement Agencies, where we have the tools for law enforcement agencies, can be run in-house in the respective legislation. So you don't have to deposit case material online on a cloud service. So I think that's the biggest point of the privacy concerns about this law enforcement agencies. Material is only handled internally with the respective police force. Can only speak about the Swedish police force here, but I guess the same applies to most police forces, that they are very reluctant to using online services for case material. Of course, there are probably exceptions in extreme cases, but generally you try to run everything in-house. But I can say something generally about traditionally criminal activity was very local within a country or so, but the internet has no borders. So there is in the past 20 years or something, there has been an increasing need of cross-country collaboration, like sharing evidence material, sharing case material, cooperation between different labs, different police forces, because much of today's crime sees no borders. Digital evidence is very common now. I don't have an exact figure, but my guess would be in half of the investigation the police carries out, there is some sort of digital evidence. And it could be anything, digital of course, and in many cases it would be audio, video or images. That would be very common digital evidence. So there is a great need for more collaboration and cross-border collaboration. I cannot go into any details in how we cooperate, but there are cooperations, and I can mention a few. There is a cooperation between the Nordic police forces, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, and of course we also cooperate with Europol, for example. I mean, that's no secret. I would say here about maybe not new kinds of identity theft, but I think it's getting down to using identity theft for more minor crimes, because it's so cheap to produce fake material now. It's cheap and easy. If we take a look on the situation 5 years ago, it would be a really big fraud, for example, probably directed towards a company to get tens of millions of euros or something. It can be used for any everyday crime to obtain just maybe a small amount of money just to hurt someone, because it's so easy to make fake material now. As an example, I did some tests 4 years ago about voice cloning. That system needed about 30 minutes of voice of the same person, and then you could clone the voice. And it sounded really good. You could just type in what the computer should say, and you could also choose from 15 different moods, like angry, sad, etc. And then about a year ago I tested another system which used 5 seconds of training data. The result was not perfect, but I would say it was actually close enough for the audio quality in a phone call is not that good. And 5 seconds of a person's voice, that's easy to obtain. You can just record it with your mobile phone when on the bus or something. If you want to make a really good voice clone, maybe you need 30 minutes of training material. If it's a famous person, a couple of minutes of searching on YouTube, you're done. Tools for cybercriminals are evolving at an amazing speed, and I guess that's because there is so much money in it, and also certain states are driving the evolution of new tools and making the current tools better and better. So there are many reasons to worry about this. For engagement for the general citizen with Ethos platform, that would be through the website. There are lots of articles there to read, lots of information and stuff like that. And there are also videos with information about online identity theft. And to safeguard yourself, there are a few things you should do. Always keep your devices updated with the latest security updates. Be suspicious of anything. No, not anything really, but a healthy suspicious mind. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's an old saying, but I think it still holds. Healthy suspiciousness against more or less everything, unfortunately. Critical thinking, I would say, is the most important thing to have in mind at all times. I mean, then there are, as I mentioned previously, keep your devices updated, but always critical thinking. I think that's the most important thing to have in mind when it comes to online identity theft.
So my name is Juan Antonio Rodrigo. I'm a teacher in the Polytechnical University of Madrid, UPM. And I'm also a researcher here. So from our research group, we are always working on European projects. So one of these projects is this Ethos project that we are talking about today. From the project, we are developing 4 tools for LEAs. We have like 2 parts of the project. One part is for the LEAs. So we are developing those 4 tools for them to try to fight against online identity theft. That's mainly detecting deep fakes on video and from audio too, to check if there are things in the social nets that are created by bots. And finally, we had one last thing that is for trying to get comprehensive data from any forum that you want to search. So instead of manually searching for the information, you just can try to automatically search all the information that is in that forum and try to get some try to understand what are the main topics that people are talking about there. So specifically for online identity theft, we are trying to check that if maybe there are correlations between different topics that get a glance at the first sight, but then our automatically systems will be able to detect that. There's always a problem with people that are getting better and better doing deep fakes, of course. For some of our tools, we are trying to get different approaches, just not like trying to detect specific things that are working right now, more in the practical way, more than in the AI way, you know, because yeah, you can also always develop a tool that is working pretty well these days, and then 2 months later that won't be working anymore. So our approach was more to trying to detect specific things that you would expect from a real thing, and not to detect something that you expect from something that's fake, because that thing that's fake can always be changing. For example, if one person tries to look today to a video deepfake, most of them, you can manage to see if it's fake or not. But that will get always better. So that will be more difficult to understand if something is fake. But you always can look at what is not fake, how the face is completed naturally. We are more focusing on that, on what should be real, not on what should be fake. The Ethos point of view of the tools, we cannot say so much because it's a EU-restricted project. Of course, we are trying to fight against AI systems right now, so we are using AI. So it's like fighting fire with fire a little bit, but of course we are trying to use new tools also to empower or new technologies to empower our tools, of course. The Ethos Observatory, we have 2 parts of the observatory. We have one part for the LEAs, that is the tools that we've been talking about, for them to try to check something has been created and it's fake, so to try to empower the LEAs to fight against these crimes. But we have another side of the project that is more dedicated to the general public. So, and that's where we have information about what's identity theft, how can you suffer identity theft, and what can you do if that happens. So part of that observatory for the public, some links to where you can report if that happens to you, or if you need help or anything related to that. We are trying to gather all that information in that other part of the observatory.
I am Antonia. I am working for CERT, and I am part of the coordination team of Ethos. Ethos is the European Online Identity Theft Observatory, and part of the project is that we are creating an observatory both directed to law enforcement agencies but also to citizens. On the citizens part, I think the most important contribution that the project has produced is the fact that we have addressed a lot of policy recommendations tailored to different kinds of policymakers. So those are threefold. First, we have the operational ones, then we have the societal ones, and then we have the legal and ethical ones. So if you want to read more on the text that we have actually produced, feel free to go to our website. It's ethos.eu. Check all information, check the materials we have created, and all relevant information. So I think the important thing about Ethos is that it's a multifaceted approach. It takes into consideration a lot of different aspects that some other projects are not. For example, it's not only law enforcement agencies or policymakers or just citizens. It's also kids, schools, technical guys, people from societal background. It's a lot of different stakeholders coming together, creating results that comprehend, let's say, the issue of online identity theft from different perspectives. And that creates an holistic approach that can actually better European society and European policymaking. I think the project right now is at a point that it has actually achieved all the technical KPIs, let's say, but it's much more than that. It's what we have created was a team of really dedicated people creating an amazing observatory that has like the twofold approach for the LEAs and the citizens. And that was, I think, the key milestone that everyone achieved. The dedication, the team effort, and the amazing, amazing result that we're trying to disseminate to the people.